Welcome back to another Kafka internals exercise. Today we'll be exploring cluster linking, and we'll see how to mirror a topic from a source cluster to a destination cluster. In order to follow along, there are a couple prerequisites that you need to go through just to make sure your environment is properly set up. The instructions are listed below this video in the write-up, so make sure you review that before we dive in. In this exercise, we'll be using the Confluent CLI to complete many of the steps. To get started with the CLI, we'll first log into Confluent Cloud. Do this with the save flag in order to save some time later by storing your credentials and using them for subsequent commands. These credentials will stay active until you run the logout command. Alright, now let's check out the details of our source and destination clusters. First, we'll list out the environments available to us and use the environment ID to list out the clusters. Run the describe command to get more details for the source cluster that we made. It's a basic cluster located in a Google Cloud Platform West region. Make note of the source cluster endpoint. We'll need it in order to create the cluster link. Now let's run the describe command on the destination cluster. Note that it's a dedicated cluster located in a Google Cloud Platform East region. As previously mentioned, if the cluster link destination cluster is located in Confluent Cloud, it must be a dedicated cluster. Alright, so we now have the Confluent Cloud environment ID, as well as the cluster IDs, and the source cluster endpoint. For the linking step, we'll also need the API key and secret from the source cluster. This can either be specified as part of the command or in a configuration file. Since we've already set up a configuration file with this key and secret in it, we'll use that. If you didn't already set up the configuration file, review the environment preparation steps in the write-up below before continuing. We'll do one more check to make sure this configuration file exists and contains all of the details that we need. Everything is there, so we're ready to link the two clusters. With that one command, the clusters are linked. It was that easy. We can now create a mirror topic in the destination cluster based on the topic that we want to link from the source cluster. Again, this is a simple command. Now that the mirror topic has been created in the destination cluster, all data that is written to the topic in the source cluster will also be written at the same offset in the mirrored topic within the destination cluster. Let's use the Confluent Cloud console to verify that this is the case. As we navigate to the overview page, notice that the source topic shows production and consumption metrics. This is expected. But when we check out the overview for the mirrored topic, it will appear slightly different. Let's find the most recent event written to partition 1 in the topic of the source cluster. See here that the last event in partition 1 is assigned offset 127, and it has a transaction ID of 436. With cluster linking, the same event in the mirrored topic should be exactly duplicated, meaning that the partition and offset should be the same across the linked topics. This is the cluster linking guarantee. When we check the overview page of the mirrored topic, we'll see mirroring instead of production. This is because the mirrored topic is read-only. Events are only being written to it by the cluster linking mirror process. Let's check the most recent event written to partition 1 of this topic. Again, you'll see that the last event has offset 127 and transaction ID 436. This is exactly what we saw in the source topic, meaning that we've confirmed the guarantee given by Confluent cluster linking. When events are mirrored from a topic in a source cluster to a topic in the destination cluster, the result is an exact copy of the event. We'll see the event written to the same partition in the mirror topic, and it will be assigned the same offset that it had in the source topic. In this exercise, we saw just how simple it is to set up cluster linking. If you are following along and running this exercise on your own, you should tear down the exercise environment by deleting the source and destination clusters, which will prevent them from unnecessarily accruing cost and exhausting your promotional credit. Let's walk through that teardown process for this exercise environment. We'll list the clusters available to us. You should see the two clusters that we used for this exercise, both source and destination. Let's delete these one by one. As a final check, confirm that the clusters no longer exist. No clusters are listed, so the environment teardown is complete. Confluent cluster linking is an awesome feature that allows you to mirror topics from source clusters to linked destination clusters. This functionality opens so many doors for use cases such as cross-region cluster replication, hybrid cluster situations, and cluster migration. I hope you enjoyed following along in these Kafka internals modules and exercises. We've learned so much together, and I can't wait to see what you build.